If I have a surplus, I gain weight. If I have a deficit, I lose weight in the long run. So whatever they want to achieve with their calorie balance, they can better understand it using this tool. You heard before that I'm the Nutrition Communications Manager with UFIC. UFIC as such has the objective to communicate science-based food information to health and nutrition professionals, educators and journalists in a way that promotes consumer understanding. So we provide material based in science to multipliers, educators, that they can pass on to their respective clients. UFIC's funding comes from the agri-food chain on the one hand, but also from the European Commission on a project basis on the other hand. And I will now go right into the website. So this is part of www.ufic.org. You will find a button on that homepage that leads you directly to the energy balance. And this is then the homepage of the energy balance. And you see it's divided into 3 very simple steps. Step 1, healthy lifestyle, deals with lots of information, lots of material that you can read up on physical activity, the different types of, the different activity levels, but also in general healthy nutrition, ways to cut calories, plate models that give you an indication of how much fruits and vegetables you should have in a day, and what contribution starchy foods should make or protein foods, again depending on your activity level. And if you're quite savvy about all those topics, you can go straight to step 2, which means creating your own profile, because this tool is based on your individual parameters and therefore gives tailored advice or tailored information to people. Of course, overall, this information provided here will never replace consulting a physician or other health professional, and that's also indicated on the website. So we always remind people, if you want to try this or do that, always consult with your health professional to make sure you're doing it in the right way. But assuming that you would like to go further into the website and you want to create your profile, as I said before here, the healthy lifestyle, just a quick overview: nutrition, physical activity, ways to cut calories, and food labels are the different areas. So food labels, we also explain to people how food labels, how the nutrition table works, so that they can use that information and really make more sense of all the numbers that people tend to find very technical. But then coming to the profile, there are certain parameters that we need from people to actually make those calculations, and the calculation formula or algorithm behind it is the Harris-Benedict formula. So we give people the chance to enter their values as metric or imperial units, and then we ask them their age. It is for adults, so 18 plus years old. Then they have to indicate their height in centimeters, or depending if you use imperial units, then it's respectively the inches. And then the weight and the waist circumference also needs adding here. The gender needs to be indicated. The physical activity level, if they don't really know whether they have a high, medium, low, or sedentary level, they can get further information. There's a little icon there, a little eye, providing further information describing the different activity levels. And then they just have to give their profile a username, and then they click on Go, and what they get next is this information. They get the calculation of their BMI, and they get a calculation of their daily average energy requirements. And based on this information, they can then work further with the other parts of the tool, which I will show to you in a minute. But they can also get more information about what the BMI actually is, what it means, and which different ranges exist, and their respective health or disease risk profile. They also can get more information about waist circumference, also the information where actually to take the measurements so that the numbers they put in there are actually correct. And then they can also get more information on energy requirements. How does this equation actually work? And once they've created their profile, they can save it, and then afterwards use it from a drop-down list, so you can create as many profiles as you like, You can involve your family members if you like, or if you want to manage different clients that you're counseling, you can also add them to the list. And then just move on to the different other sections. You can see here at the bottom, you can always go back to the Your Profile, or to Healthy Lifestyle information, or to the Eat and Move section. And another section that I'm in right now is the Calorie Burner. So there again, from a drop-down menu, you pick your profile, and then afterwards you select a category of activity in principle. So that's home and everyday activities, leisure or hobby activities, or sports. So we provide a wide range of activities that help people understand that they make a different contribution to their overall calorie needs. For example, if someone is just sitting at home reading a book, they hardly burn any calories, whereas when they're highly active doing high-intensity sports, they burn much more or many more calories, and therefore they, in the long run, get an understanding of how these different activities actually contribute to their energy needs or energy usage. Then under activities, you can define more precisely what kind of activity you're actually performing. Then you enter the duration and you enter the frequency of times per week. And then you get a calculation of how many calories you actually consumed or expended, burned, doing these kinds of activities. You can add several activities to see over the course of a week, this is the amount of calories that you've actually burned. So I just use my own profile, added jogging for 60 minutes, and with my profile I get roughly 500 kcal of energy or calories burned for this activity. And then I can add more activities or just go back, reset to 0 and start with other activities. And you see here down at the bottom of the note, keep in mind, short actions may not burn a huge amount of calories alone, but it's the sum of the different small activities that actually can make an impact. Then finally I come to the Eat and Move section, where we have different ways of going about further calculations related to what you want to do. You might come from the food perspective, saying, I am eating this, or I want to eat this, and therefore consume that many calories. How long do I have to exercise to burn off those calories if I wanted to do that? Again, the hint, not all the calories that you consume have to be burnt off with physical activity. So we would help people understand that they have a basic need, and then above that need related to their activity level. We can also come from the other side and say we look at a certain activity that we're doing, and which food in what quantities would balance out the calorie usage that we have with that kind of activity. Or thirdly, we can have people play around with foods and activities to find a balance. And this is what I've done here as an example. Here you see again, you select a food, you have to know the calories per serving and the number of servings that you're going to eat, or the calories per 100 gram, and then the grammage that you're going to consume. And there again a link to the food labels. It says understand the label. So there it links to the section where people get more information about how to use food labels on food packages and how to read the information that's given there. So they then use the calorie information and they select an activity that they might want to perform, and again the duration, and then you click on calculate, and then you will get a screen like this where it shows in the range of extreme calorie shortage to extreme calorie surplus where they would sit if they performed that specific activity for the duration that they have entered, versus the calorie intake from the food that they have picked and the quantity they wanted to eat. And depending on whether they expend more calories with the activity or take in more calories with the food, they land on different parts of this whole range overall. And that is basically the energy balance tool. It's available in many different languages. We have it at the moment in English, we have it in German, Italian, Spanish, and Greek. And we're about to also publish it in Portuguese. So you can use it in many different countries in the native languages of your clients. And you should also know that this tool has been developed in association with the European Federation of the Association of Dietitians. They have evaluated the tool, we have integrated their feedback. Overall, the site was developed with experts from the field of sports and physical activity, but also nutrition and health in general. And it is a joint commitment to the EU Platform for Action on Diet, Physical Activity and Health between UFIC and IFAD, and is a very important commitment to us. And we can only hope that you find this tool useful, that you can promote it in your respective country, and we will be happy to work with you if you would like to see it in another language on ufic.org. If you can work with us to provide further translations. We're always, of course, looking for reasonable costs, keeping it to a minimum, but at the same time providing great service to the consumers and clients in the respective countries. So if you would like to help us, please just get in touch with me. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention and happy to take your questions.